Hi, I'm here for the third part of my favorite characters ranking, where I mention who my favorite characters are from various things. Pretty much anything can count, whether it be a comics character, a cartoon character, a live action character. Um, on to 74. In 74th place is a character I believe has always been my favorite character from the franchise that the character appears in, Wednesday Addams, who I think has always been the big standout character for me from the Addams family. And I already felt that before um, she had her own show, although her show does help. Wednesday, love her personality, love her style, very gothic, cool character. And there's a lot to enjoy in the Addams family. Gomez and Morticia are wonderful together. Fester's a lot of fun, but for me, Wednesday's the big standout character. And I think that giving her her own show was the best choice to make. So, wonderful character. In 73rd place is Lydia Dietz from Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice, whether it's the films or the cartoon, Beetlejuice is wonderful. And a lot of that comes from Beetlejuice, but also comes from Lydia. I think that she's a really good character, and Beetlejuice is so much fun that Lydia could have just been a kind of just normal character that reacts to what Beetlejuice does, but she has a lot of personality and has her own cool charm to her own, and she's wonderful in the Beetlejuice films. She and Beetlejuice have some very interesting interactions in the cartoon show. Lydia really does stand out, and that's hard to do when there's a character as fun as Beetlejuice. But Lydia managed to stand out as well, and I think that's wonderful. In 72nd place is Alice from Alice in Wonderland. Um, I have been a big fan of Alice in Wonderland for a long time. I've read the books. I did a book report on Lewis Carroll. I like some of the animated stuff. I'm a huge fan of the films that have Johnny Depp as the Hatter. And for me, the Hatter is a big standout character, sort of like how Beetlejuice is. And because of that, Alice could have just been a boring character that just reacts what the Hatter does. But Alice, like Lydia, is a character I believe does stand out. And she is great and she is interesting. And she's a character that can come across as more reasonable than some of the characters that she meets in the story, but she also has her own charm to her, and she does feel like a character that really stands out very well. So I really like Alice. In 71st place is a character that gets this high because of nostalgia and because of how important this character was to really changing my interest. In 71st place is Sailor Moon from Sailor Moon. It's really thanks to Sailor Moon that I became a huge fan of anime and became a huge fan of a lot of franchises that heavily focus on female characters. Growing up, a lot of the things that I watched, a lot of times, a lot of the female characters really didn't stand out. In Batman, even though he does have some good female villains, it's mostly the male ones that are the fun ones that have the big standout moments. Does Spider-Man even have any major female villains? And in a lot of cartoons and a lot of films and a lot of things that I saw, it was almost always the male characters that stood out. But then I watched Sailor Moon, and Sailor Moon stood out. And it wasn't just because she was the lead character. Sailor Moon was really funny, and that really helped me grow as a person and realize that there are a lot of great female characters out there, and I just hadn't seen a lot of them yet. And it really, oddly enough, Sailor Moon really led to me becoming a more open minded person, becoming a fan of a lot more female characters than I ever was before. And it led to me discovering how amazing anime is, how much I love it. With all that said, I do have a lot of problems with Sailor Moon as a franchise. I think it starts off so well, and then Minnie Moon shows up, who I really can't stand. And I think Sailor Moon is such a bizarre show that's at times feels like a flat out comedy, a hilarious one, and then other times it feels like a very serious drama, a very serious action show. It's so confusing to me. It feels like if in some episodes of Batman he was acting like Adam West, other episodes he was acting like the Kevin Conroy Batman, but in the same show. It is so random. It is so bizarre. I don't get the mood switches and all the stuff where sometimes Sailor Moon is a goofball, a very goofy, funny character. And other times, super serious. She's the hero that's gonna save the world, and she has these very serious relationships. There's a lot of problems I have with Sailor Moon, but Sailor Moon's also incredibly important to my life, and I wish that Minnie Moon wasn't a character. Minnie Moon is one of the most annoying characters in all of history. And so that hurts, and Sailor Moon is her mom, so she is responsible for bringing Minnie Moon into the world, and thanks for that, Sailor Moon. Um, and I don't really think her relationship with Tuxedo Max works very well, and there's a lot of stuff to complain about when it comes to Sailor Moon, but Sailor Moon is still very important to my nostalgia and my history, and changing my interests and changing my worldviews. So it was very hard to figure out the placement. I would had her much lower, but she played such an important role in my life that I think that 71st place is the right placement for her, even if I did spend a lot of the time complaining. Um, why did Minnie Moon have to be brought into the show? Why did that have to happen? Oh, I feel like if I were to do a list of least favorite characters, I think Minnie Moon would be very high in that list. But anyways, in 70th place is Anna from Frozen. I am a huge Frozen fan. Frozen means so much to me. I think I've seen the first Frozen film more times than any film. There are some times where I watched it more than once in a single day. There was a time where I was watching it weekly. Frozen means a lot to me, and Anna is a really great character, very lovable, great sister to Elsa. I love that even though she's the younger sister, she realizes that Elsa's going through a lot of difficult things. So there's a lot of times where Anna has to step up and at times be the more responsible one, but Anna's also oftentimes the more comedic one. And so she worked really well as a character, and I really do love her, and I think 70th place is the right placement for her. In 69th place is a character that I've always liked, even if I'm not never been the biggest fan of the franchises this character comes from. Even though I do like this franchise, I've seen this franchise a good number of times. Um, 69th place is the Shredder from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I think the main characters, they're decent enough characters, but they've never been characters that were the big standout characters for me. A lot of the big standout characters in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles aren't the four main characters. A lot of them are characters like Splinter, Casey Jones, Crane, I believe Dreg. But the biggest standout is the Shredder. Such a cool villain. And a villain that can work as a comedic villain and also a serious villain. Very comedic, very entertaining. The original cartoon show. Love that version of him, but also love the very intimidating Shredder from the 2000s cartoon. There's a lot of great stuff to Shredder, and even if a lot of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stuff isn't necessarily amongst some of my favorite stuff, I love the Shredder. He is amazing. In 68th place is Dr. Eggman from Sonic the Hedgehog. And there are a lot of good Sonic characters, but the one I have on the list is Dr. Eggman. And I did think about Cream, because Cream is absolutely adorable and is delightful, but Cream appears in so few stuff. I think the only show that she's appeared in is Sonic X, and I really want to see more of Cream. I want to see Blaze. Blaze seems so cool, but I don't think she's appeared in any of the shows or films. So Dr. Eggman is the character that didn't make hit list because he's actually shows up in Sonic stuff and he's amazing. A very entertaining villain that's amazing in a lot of different cartoon shows. A lot of fun in the live action films. Dr. Eggman, very consistently cool character, very consistently funny character. A character that can sometimes have some moral values, other times be very villainous and sinister. Dr. Eggman is great. 67th place is a character from a show that I don't have too much experience from, but I love this character too much for this character to not have a good placement in my list. On 67th place is Robbie Rotten from Lazy Town. I've seen some of Lazy Town, and it's good. Uh, Upbeat, nice show, but what really makes it worth watching, in my opinion, is Robbie Rotten, one of the funniest villains out there. A villain that is so much fun to watch. Absolute delight of a character, and a character that at times can be sympathetic and lovable to have around, and he's such a delightfully hilarious, over the top villain that I deeply enjoy. So, um, I wouldn't call myself the biggest Lazy Town fan out there or anything, but I love Robbie Rotten. And you can let me know what you think of my rankings so far. You can guess about future placements for future characters. Feel free to let me know your thoughts.